Okay, we left off adding this type of border with the, adding another element. But let's say you wanted to actually move this up so that these two flowers made their own border. Or better yet, let's go ahead and flip these patterns because it looks better. Let me just show you. Bear with me here. Let's edit the pattern, modify this pattern. Okay, we're going to flip it. Oops, flip the Y. And then we're going to do the same thing here. I think that when it's put together they look a little bit better turned this way. But let's say we want to go ahead and beef this up or get it so that it really meets up nicely. This original block was 55. This was 5 inches wide, so let's go ahead and add 5 inches, modify this pattern. We can go ahead and add 5 inches to the width of this. So I'm going to go ahead and say 60 inches. And that did stretch it a little bit. Probably if I knew ahead of time what I was going to do, I may have gone ahead and put four repeats in here. I would have put 60 in to begin with, but since I'm working off my last pattern, let's just, for the sake of just showing you how to do this, I'll leave it at that. I really don't think it stretches it too much either that way. So that looks pretty good, and see what that did? It kept that on the center and it just kind of beefed it out 2 inches that way, 2.5 inches that way, and 2.5 inches that way, which is exactly what we want. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that out. I don't want this anymore. I want to take this pattern and rotate it. So I'm going to delete this one, get that out of there. Now I'm going to copy this pattern and just rotate it. Rotate it my 90 degrees, move it, and here again, if we snap that in the center, it's going to work. You can't always do that with patterns, but this one happens to work, so let's go for it. Okay, now do you see what happens? Let's zoom this in. Let's see. Oops, let's go ahead and modify the pattern. We'll get us to our zoom things. Okay, now I want to zoom this in so you can see how that's going to look. Okay, and as you can see, it's sort of doesn't look too good, so we need to zoom that in to make sure that things aren't overlapping. So let's go ahead and modify that pattern. Let's select this one. I think what we're going to have to do is actually take a couple inches off of it. I added 5 inches to it. Let's go ahead and take that width down to 58. Would that be right? Actually, let's take it down to 59. Maybe it's only an inch that we need. You're just kind of fudging this a little bit to see how it works. Finish that out. Let's delete this pattern here again. Let's delete that. Copy this one and do the same thing we did with before. Let's rotate it 90 degrees, move it. And now let's zoom it in and see if, I probably should have checked this. I think that's going to be perfect right there. We probably should have checked that before. Normally I always find these things out after, but let's go to the full zoom, true size, or full zoom. Now we can finish it up and see how it looks. But I think that actually looks good, and you can actually go ahead and do the same thing, to the other borders.